Vampires are not a thing, Yara. Vampires are not a thing. There is no way they can be real, right? Welcome to my vampire deck profile. I have been working on this for this whole past week. After work, I come home, play test a couple of games with this deck profile, refining it a bit by bit, and I came down to this deck profile. And after the deck profile and card by card rundown, I'm gonna be showcasing a rated gameplay that I had with this exact same deck profile. So you're gonna want to stick around for the whole video. So yeah, let's go to the card by card rundown. So we're playing 40 cards on the main deck, and we're playing 9 going second cards. So we're not strictly playing to combo off, we're also playing going second cards. One of the strengths about vampires is that they're very good at going second. I mean, most of the cards have good effects when going second, but they can also set up a good board going first. I mean, you always want to go first because I don't think this deck is the best at breaking boards. So if you win the die roll, make sure to pick to go first. But if you go first, you can set up a pretty strong board that most people cannot break through. So yeah, let's get started. So we're playing 3 Ash Blossom. That is a zombie, but it's also the most generic hand trap in the game. It stops brand diffusion and a lot of cards. We're playing 3 of those. We're playing the Doom King and the Banshee combo that we're gonna be sending off with Beatrice. So this is gonna be one of our main plays when it comes to this. We're playing the Shadow Vampire. Cool thing about Shadow Vampire is that it's not a hard once per turn. If this card didn't require you to XYZ summon a Dark with himself, this card would be amazing. But the fact that it's not a hard once per turn is very good and can come up in a lot of games. So it's going to be one of the key cards in this deck. We're playing 3 Familiars. This is one of your combo starters. You can link it off for Link Karibo, and then you can start your combos off like that. Then we're playing the 1 Frolian. This was pretty good because this has some damage step implications. So it's very good to help you beat some opponents by battle. So we're playing the 3 Ghosts, Vampire Ghost. If I had to say what's the best card in the deck, this would be it. This is what helps you set up all your plays. It has multiple effects. Not only does it allow you to add 1 to your hand, it allows you to dump 1 from the deck to the graveyard. Not only that, but it allows you to quick effect banish this from the graveyard, pay 500, and immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one vampire monster. You may be like, how is this good? Well, I'll tell you later on, okay? So we're playing 2 Grace. Even drawing this is good because it means that you can discard it with something like a Familiar or your Retainer, and then you get combo off like that. So Grace is a pretty useful card in the deck. The second effect is pretty good too. When you can declare 1 card type, monster, spell, or trap, your opponent sends 1 card from their deck to the graveyard. You may be like, how is that good? Well, you can declare monster, and then you can special summon it with something like a vampire sucker. So you're gonna want to play this deck a lot of times just to kind of get the hang of things. So we're playing 1 Red Baron. It's a level 6. It's very good because it requires 1 tribute, and sometimes if we have Vampire Sucker and we have the Ghost in graveyard, we can go ahead and tribute summon the Baron, and this allows you to switch monsters with your opponent pretty much. So it's very good like that. And then you can special summon the monster if you destroy by battle. So then we're playing 3 Retainers. This can help you search your domain or your domination or even your desire. So Retainer is a crucial card in this deck. So it allows you to dump vampires from your hand as well, which can come in handy. So we're playing 1 Scarlet. I wish I could play more. I mean, you can play more, honestly. This card is one of the best cards in the deck. It allows you to special summon a vampire monster from the graveyard with no restrictions as long as it's a vampire. So doesn't have to be a certain level, doesn't even have to have a level. It could be a link monster. So it is very good. So they're playing 1 Sorcerer. The first effect almost never comes up, but the second effect does. It says that you can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 dark vampire monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard. 1 dark vampire monster you normal this turn can be summoned without tributing. So that makes it so your Vampire Vamp and your Void can be summoned without any tributes, even though they would normally require 2 tributes because it's level 7 and level 8. So the Vampire Vamp, this one's pretty cool because it allows you to take monsters from your opponent and equip it to herself. So the Void is very good because it functions almost like a Call by the Grave, because it negates monsters that with the same name in the graveyard. So if somebody activates Ash Blossom, you can go ahead and negate the Ash Blossom because that Ash Blossom is in the graveyard. So it's almost like a Call by the Grave. It's funny that it's next to the Call by the Grave. So we're playing 3 Dark Ruler No Mores. I think this is one of the best cards going second in today's format. So we're gonna want to play that. We're playing 1 Foolish Burial to be able to send whatever we need in the graveyard, whether it be like a Retainer, a Familiar, Banshee, Balderak, whatever you need in the graveyard. So we're playing 3 Droplet, one of the best going second cards, stops you from getting Scythe locked. 1 Monster Reborn. A lot of the times we want a Monster Reborn, one of our vampires that have effects when they get special summoned, like the Scarlet has an effect when they get special summoned. So you're gonna want to keep that in mind, and your Familiar and your Retainer also have effects when they get special summoned. So playing 1 for 1, we can special summon out the Familiar and get the combo started that way. Then we're playing 1 Desire. This was pretty good because if you have something like a Familiar in the field, you can go ahead and send your Retainer to the graveyard. So, or you can send whatever, pretty much. It allows you to special summon as well. So I'm only playing 1 because it's a hard once per turn, and it's not one of the best cards in the deck. It could come in handy, but not the best cards. I think it's better going second, honestly, but sometimes going first it can help you set up your combo. But we're playing 3 Domains. This one's pretty good because it makes it so that if you activate Retainer, add this, activate effect, and then you have like a Familiar, you can send this from field to graveyard, especially not the Familiar, or you can send this off of the Ghost effect as well, and you still get the effect to summon 1 more time, you know, so even if he leaves the field. So pretty good. Then we have a Zombie World because we're playing the Banshee. We need this against decks like Flunderies and a lot of decks that require them to be like a Cybers decks. They mostly require them to be Cybers, like Salamangreat and stuff like that. So it can hurt Sword Soul as well, just depending what kind of hand they drew. So we're playing 1 Domination. This is one of the best counter trap cards in the game because it's so easily searchable, and the restrictions are pretty easy. All you require is 1 vampire monster on the field. So you could, in the replay that I showed you, that I'm gonna show you right now, I normal summon the Retainer, set my Domination, and I won the game like that. So all you need is a vampire monster on the field. So it's a counter trap card that negates spell, trap, or monster effect. So then going second, playing 1 Pegatops, 3 Drolls, 3 Nibs, 1 Token Collector because we can send it off of our Beatrice, 3 Lightning Storms against those back row decks, 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance, one of the best floodgates in the game, and 1 Red Reboot because I think this deck can OTK very easily. So if we can just stop their trap cards for 1 turn, that's all we need. And now going to our extra deck, we're playing 1 Keeper of the Armageddon. This is pretty good because sometimes we normal summon our Shadow Vampire and we special summon out our Fallen from our deck, and there's a Dark, so we can go into this, and this allows us to destroy a face-up card on the field, and then we can attack, and then we can go into Zeus, play 1 Beatrice, one of the key cards in the deck, allows us to send our Necroworld Banshee or pretty much whatever we need in the graveyard. So playing Zeus because we play an XYZs. Going second, we need to break boards. We're playing 1 Zombie Vampire. This card is insane when it resolves on this deck because most of your effects, most of your monsters effect, they either get effects when in the graveyard, or when they get special summoned. So this one does both of those. So we're playing 1 Access Code. We're playing 1 Appaloosa. We're playing a Barricade Boardwalk, Barricade Board Blocker. So this one allows us to discard either our Retainer, Familiar, Grace, whatever we need to get out of our hand. We go into the blocker, discard it, and then we can keep combo from there. We play 1 IP Masquerina, 1 Unicorn, 1 Link Karibo, 1 Underworld the Goddess because we're playing IP Masquerina. So sometimes to out certain monsters, we need to go into the Underworld, or we can just disrupt them by going into this with the IP Masquerina. So We're playing one Fascinator. This one's pretty cool because it allows us to link climb, Sucker, special summon something like an Ash Blossom or something, then go into the Fascinator, special summon the same Ash Blossom, then we can go into our Yuki Onna. Yuki Onna is pretty good because it's a Link 4, is a zombie. This locks us into zombies, so we can still go into our Yuki Onna even after we get locked. So then we played 2 Vampire Suckers. The second one comes up way too often. I was debating whether I needed one, but the second one just kept coming up every single time, so we decided to go with 2 of these. So yeah, that will be it for the deck profile. And now let's go on to the rated gameplay. Let's go. Okay, so in this Dueling Book replay, I'm playing up against Drytron, which is one of the better decks of the format. So thankfully I win the Paper Scissors Rock. So yeah, let's get started. So I'm gonna be showcasing this. So I start off with Vampire's Domain, Forbidden Droplet, Necrowold Banshee, Vampire Ghost, and Vampire Grace. And my opponent starts out with Preparation of Rites, Pot of Prosperity, Cyber Emergency, and the Magic Key Mech Musket. So I'm gonna start off with Domain, pay 500. I can summon one more time this turn, activate Ghost, send the same Domain to send a Familiar, and add a Retainer. So this is a little misplay right here. You cannot add a Retainer, it has to be a level 4 or higher, but I was still gonna be able to combo off. So this is the only misplay that I made this whole time. So but you can still, I was still gonna be able to combo off. So just remember that it has to be a level 4 or higher that you get to add with Ghost. So but I'm activate Familiar, discard the Retainer, activate Familiar effect to add a copy of the Shadow Vampire from the deck. Activate Retainer effect, discarding the Grace. Activate Retainer effect, pay 500 to add the Domination. I'm gonna go ahead and link both of those off for the Vampire Sucker. Now I'm gonna activate the second normal summon off of the Domain to tribute summon for the Shadow Vampire. Shadow Vampire effect to special summon out a level 5 or higher. To special summon a Dark Vampire from the deck. Special summon out the Scarlet. Scarlet effect, Scarlet Chainlink 1, Grace Chainlink 2. So this is gonna be able to special summon itself from the graveyard. Pay 2,000 and pay 1,000. So I'm down 3,000. So I'm getting very low on life points. So with the Scarlet, I'm gonna be able to special summon out the Ghost and special summon out the Grace. So I was supposed to draw a card off of the Vampire Sucker. I just forgot that. So remember to draw a card off of Vampire Sucker. So I'll say it's even, right? I didn't draw a card, and so now I'm gonna go into the Barricade blocker. I'm gonna go ahead and discard the Necrowold Banshee. Now I'm gonna go ahead and overlay both of those off for the Beatrice. Activate Beatrice effect, detaching out the Scarlet. So another misplay was that make sure to discard the Grace instead of the Scarlet, because Grace gonna be able to special summon itself out during the next standby phase. So that's another thing that you want to keep in mind. So I'm gonna send the Doom King. So now I'm gonna go ahead and set Droplet, set the Domination. So I'm a pass turn. So during the draw phase, I tell him draw phase. I'm gonna activate Necrowold Banshee to special summon to activate the Zombie World from the deck. Standby phase, the Doom King is gonna go and special summon itself out with his own effect. I'm gonna get the Vampire Sucker effect to draw because a zombie was special summoned from the graveyard. I draw into the Vampire Fallen, which is very good. You may be wondering how is that good, because Vampire Sucker allows me to use one of my opponent's monsters to tribute summon for a zombie monster. So I can go ahead during their main phase, I can go ahead and banish out Ghost and tribute summon for the Fallen. So that's another interruption that I have. So I have Zombie World, I have a Doom King negate and banish. I also have a Droplet, so it has 3 interruptions. I have a Domination, 4 interruptions, plus a Tribute Summon, 5 interruptions. So plus a Zombie World, which is another 4 interruptions, so 6 interruptions. So now main phase 1, he's gonna go ahead and activate Prosperity. I say that's okay. Gonna go ahead and add the Zeta. Gonna put Cyber Emergency back and the Prep back. Gonna go ahead and activate Prep to add the Ben 10. Gonna activate Cyber Emergency to add a copy of the Alpha. He's gonna go ahead and activate Alpha, attributing out Ben 10. I say that's okay. He's gonna go ahead and add another copy of Ben 10. Ben 10 effect to add a copy of the Natasha. That's gonna activate Zeta effect, and I'm gonna go ahead and negate that with the Domination because I don't want him to have access to the Medionis, the ritual spell, so that gets negated and he just scoops it up. He really needed access to that ritual spell. So now we're gonna go to game number 2 post side deck. So I start out with Ghost, Forbidden Droplet, Retainer, Grace, Dark Will No More. So 2 going second cards plus combo, which is very good. The opponent starts out with Pot of Prosperity, Cyber Emergency, Diviners, Natasha, and Fafnir. So I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward with this. Gonna activate Cyber Emergency to add a copy of Alpha. Activate the Fafnir to add a copy of Nova. Activate Nova, special summon out the Zeta. Activate Alpha effect, tributing out the Zeta. Alpha effect to add a copy of the Ben 10. Zeta effect, tributing out the Ben 10. Add a copy of the Medionis. Ben 10 effect to add a copy of Vanity Rulers. He's gonna go into the Mu Beta. Mu Beta dump the Gamma. Pot of Prosperity, banish out 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's look at the top deck. So let's see what he adds. He's gonna add a copy of the Preparation of Rites. He's gonna put all those at the bottom of the deck. So it's gonna end on a pretty crazy board. Activate Medionis Rytron, tribute Ritual Summon at the Ben 10. So now he's gonna be able to add the Natasha plus the Medionis. So now it's gonna activate Gamma effect, tributing out Ben 10, special summon Gamma, Ben 10 effect to add the Herald of the Orange Light, Medionis to Ritual Summon out Ben 10, and then it's gonna go ahead and activate Medionis effect to add itself back by lowering the attack of the Mu Beta. Activate Medionis, gonna go into the Beta Busters to add a copy of the Unlocking. It's gonna go ahead and tribute summon both of those for the Vanity Rulers. Ben 10 effect to add a copy of Lancia, so he ends up with a Lancia, the Magic Key Unlocking, and the Vanity Ruler plus Herald the Orange Light. So I'm locked out of Banishing, locked out of Special Summoning. He has a Monster Negate in his hand, so yeah, let's see. So I draw into the Red Baron, which is actually not bad because it still gives me a discard, but I needed one more card to be able to break this board. So I'm activating Dark Will No More. He's gonna go ahead and unlocking that and negating that. He's saying second. So he's gonna activate I'm gonna activate Droplet, discarding out the Grace to negate the Vanity Ruler. Now I'm gonna activate Ghost effect, discarding out the Retainer to activate effect. He's gonna go ahead and chain the Herald, the Orange Light to destroy that. I'll go ahead and activate Retainer effect in graveyard to dump the Baron, special summon our Retainer effect to add a copy of the Vampire's Desire. Activate effect to send, and I just scoop it up because I couldn't win that. So now we're gonna go to game number 3. So let's see how this goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and okay, so I just a little bit of a break. So I start off with the Retainer, Domination, Fragrance, Domain. So I'm gonna go ahead and normal summon out the Retainer, set Domination, set Anti-Spell Fragrance, and activate Domain. And the opponent starts out with Twin Twisters, Forbidden Droplet, Pot of Prosperity, Ben 10, and Nova. So during draw phase, I'm gonna go ahead and activate Anti-Spell Fragrance. Gonna go ahead and discard Droplet. Now I'm gonna go ahead and chain the copy of Domination to negate that. And my opponent just scoops it up. He couldn't play through that. And I looked at my what my next draw was, and I was gonna draw into Ghost, which I was gonna OTK him. So yeah, if you were thinking, oh, I don't know why he scooped it up, well, he was gonna lose anyway. So some of my closing thoughts regarding this deck is that it has some bricky hands. It's a fun deck that can set up a counter trap card, Zombie World, and a couple of negates, plus being able to tribute summon one of your monsters during their turn. So I would say it needs one more card for support, maybe like a Searcher, something that will be able to search you any zombie monster you want, like a spell card. Something like a Nova would be pretty cool, but I think it's a fun deck. I suggest you try it out on Dueling Book or on your locals if you want to. It's a fun deck. But as always, guys, this was Yara here, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.